Well, good morning. My name is Pastor Rick Thomas. I'm the pastor of Moxie Community Church in Wyalusing, Pennsylvania. And this is a pre-recorded Mother's Day message, which is this coming Sunday, May the 9th, 2021. The origin of Mother's Day, as we know it, took place in the early 1900s. A woman named Anna Jarvis started a campaign for an official holiday honoring mothers in 1905, the year her own mother died. The first larger scale celebration of the holiday was in 1908, when Jarvis held a public memorial for her mother in her hometown of Grafton, West Virginia. Over the next few years, Jarvis pushed to have the holiday officially recognized, and it was celebrated increasingly in more and more states around the U.S. Finally, in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson signed a proclamation making Mother's Day an official holiday to take place the second Sunday of May. Anna Jarvis put Mother's Day on the calendar as a day dedicated to expressing love and gratitude to mothers, acknowledging the sacrifices women make for their children. Before Anna Jarvis worked to get a day for recognizing mothers, her own mom played an important role uniting women for good causes. Mama Jarvis, also known as Ann Reeves Jarvis, cared for wounded soldiers on both sides of the field during the Civil War, and in its aftermath, she organized a Mother's Friendship Day, the goal of which was to foster reconciliation between former Union and Confederate soldiers by having them come together along with mothers from both sides. With the senior Jarvis's lifelong focus on caring for children and promoting peace, it is no wonder her daughter fought for a day just for moms. At around the same time Ann Reeves Jarvis was working with mothers in the spirit of peace, Julia Ward Howell, another activist as well as an abolitionist and suffrage, worked to have June 2nd be celebrated as Mother's Peace Day and wrote a Mother's Day proclamation calling on mothers to work toward world peace. Mother's Day is celebrated in a variety of ways and on different dates throughout the year, though many countries observe the holiday on the same day as the United States, proof of the powerful impact made by Anna Jarvis. As a young girl living in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Anna and her mother cared for a garden full of white carnations, her mother's favorite flowers. In 1907, Anna delivered 500 white carnations to the church her mother taught Sunday school in. She then requested that each mother in the congregation get one as they arrived at church that week. Every year after that, the church upheld the tradition and continued to hand out carnations at their Mother's Day service. Neighboring communities and churches soon took notice of this act and began incorporating it into their own Mother's Day services. In the mid-1940s, carnations were dubbed the official Mother's Day flower. Anna Jarvis once said that white carnations were the symbol of Mother's Day because they were thought to typify some of the virtues of motherhood. Whiteness stands for purity, its lasting qualities, faithfulness, its fragrance, love, its wide field of growth, charity, its form, beauty. Oftentimes, colored carnations began to take on their own meanings. Because of their history, fragrance, and heavenly soft texture, white carnations became popularly thought of as the flowers you left at the gravesite of a mother who had passed away. And even though it was white carnations that originally became popular, red carnations are also considered the official Mother's Day flower. However, red carnations are believed to be a gift for mothers who are still alive, as it was believed carnation's deep red petals represented that of a beating heart and love rather than loss. The celebration of mothers really dates back further than Anna Jarvis. It goes back to creation, for every mother was given life because of the first mother, Eve. Only by the grace of God can a woman give life. God designed it that way. So Eve was the first woman who became a mother to three sons, Abel, Cain, and Seth. A survey of the Bible reveals over 80 mothers you can read about their lives. Some mothers were not so good, like Jezebel, Athaliah, the wife of King Jehoram, the daughter of King Ahab, and the only queen of Judah, was certainly bad according to 2 Kings 11. After the death of her son, she killed all the members of the royal family and took the throne. Then you have Herodias, Herod Antipas's wife. She was responsible for the death of John the Baptist after her daughter's famous dance. And then you have Maacah, who married Rehoboam, and she gave birth to Abijah, an evil ruler. Some mothers were super special beings, part of God's program. Of course, you have Mary, the mother of Jesus, Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist, Hannah, the mother of Samuel, Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon. Then you have those mothers who might be categorized as forgotten. Not much is known about them. However, the absence of any volume of writings does not negate their contribution to biblical literature and the vital role they played as mothers. One such mother was Jochebed, was a daughter of Levi, according to Exodus 2:1, and the mother of Aaron, Moses, and Miriam, Exodus chapter 6, verse 20, and Numbers 26:59. Jochebed was married to Amram. She and her husband were Jewish, descendants of Abraham. They were part of the Abrahamic covenant. She had a rich lineage in Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. God used the jealousy of Joseph's brothers to relocate Jacob and his family to Egypt, where for a time they lived separated from the main hub of Egypt and the pagan temples and worship. They lived in favor of the Pharaoh that prospered under Joseph's leadership, whom God exalted to a position of power and prestige, exactly what would preserve the 70 from extinction due to the great famine in the land. But the Bible tells us that a new Pharaoh ascended that did not know Joseph, Exodus 1:8. Pharaoh's advisors were wrought over the growing population of the Jews, especially to the northeast area of Egypt, presenting a possible threat to join an invading army. Pharaoh intensified his pressure, forcing them to labor rigorously. When this did not seem to slow the multiplication process, he issued an edict to the midwives that when helping a Jew give birth, if it was a boy, to murder the lad. Now we know the rest of the story. Aaron and Miriam are already born. This edict comes afterwards. Moses was the youngest child Jochebed gave birth to, but the edict is in place. The Bible tells us that the midwives feared God. God used them, telling Pharaoh that the Hebrew women are stronger than the Egyptian women, and before the midwife arrives, the child is born. Moses is born, and his mother cares and protects him for 3 months. When she was no longer able to do so safely, she fashioned a wicker basket, lined it with pitch, wrapped Moses in a blanket, and set the basket and baby in the reeds along the Nile. Moses' sister watched from a distance. Pharaoh's daughter, along with her maids, arrived at this portion of the Nile to bathe. She observes the basket, sends over some maids to retrieve it, and uncovers the face of Moses. Remember, the Bible tells us he was a beautiful baby, according to Exodus 2:2. He is crying, and she shows compassion for this infant. Miriam comes running out of her hiding place and offers to find a nurse for the infant. Pharaoh's daughter is not biologically ready to nurse a child. Miriam brings her mother to Pharaoh's daughter, who hires her and pays her to care for her own son. But when he is of age, Jochebed will surrender her son to Pharaoh's daughter to raise as her own son. There are several things I would like to highlight about this mother. First of all, she was a loving, caring, protective mother. We do not know the penalty she and her family might experience if discovered with a male newborn. She witnessed the daily fatigue and exhaustion of her husband returning from forced hard labor. But she was committed to the life of all of her children, and especially Moses, under those cultural circumstances. Her father performed his role diligently. She performed her role faithfully. Second, she was surrounded by a like-minded community. Undoubtedly, her neighbors knew of the new addition to her household. I know Scripture is silent, but I suspect they were protective of her. This assumption would be further supported by the very ethnicity of the culture, extremely connected and intertwined. Third, she took steps to protect and provide for Moses. When it became more dangerous to keep Moses in the household, she wove a basket, lined it with a waterproofing substance. Then she chose a location that would provide seclusion and safety for the little raft. The reeds became a haven for refuge. Even Moses' sister became involved in watching. Did Jochebed think that she would bring Moses back at night and then repeat the process during the day? Did she know that the location she chose to hide Moses was a bathing place of Pharaoh's daughter? The point is, she understood her limitations on protecting Moses and followed her conscience, trusting God, who gave her that child to protect and provide for the child. Fourth, she experienced the sovereignty of God. First, through the midwives and their discourse to Pharaoh. They could have easily participated in the wicked plot, but they feared God. More than likely, they themselves were mothers, as the midwives were Hebrew. Second, she experienced the sovereignty of God, remembering the place of Pharaoh's daughter bathed. I'm sure there was quite an entourage surrounding her going to and returning from that portion of the Nile. Third, she experienced the sovereignty of God by receiving her son back for a season and getting wages to be his nurse. She was also granted a special season of time to pour into Moses' little life lessons from his forefathers. But Rick, you say, he was just an infant. Yes, but even an infant can perceive the nurture and care of the caregiver. Fifth, she trusted God during these difficult, oppressive days in Egypt. Life was not easy. It was hard and difficult. She saw her husband work tirelessly to try and stave off further provocation and punishment by the Egyptian taskmasters. She trusted God to guide her in raising Moses' sister and brother, Miriam and Aaron. She trusted God to respond gently and wisely when she returned home to Aaron and Miriam without baby Moses. She trusted God when she took Moses to the palace for Pharaoh's daughter to raise him, which more than likely she had truly little involvement, but the scholars and servants did the raising. She trusted God every time she saw Moses standing elevated above his brethren who were bent over in slavery. She trusted God when rumors spread that Moses fled after murdering an Egyptian. She trusted God when she saw her son return from 40 years of separation to lead Israel out of captivity. There's one thing every mother wants and one thing every mother dreads seeing. Every mother's desire is that her children rise up and call her blessed. Proverbs 31:28. And the thing every mother does not want to see is the foolishness of her child's actions. Proverbs 10:1. On this Mother's Day, May 9th, 2021, may you hear your children rise up and call you blessed. May you find peace and rest in the fact that you did your best, and now, even now, you must trust God for the rest of your child's development and maturity. God bless.